Hello, and welcome to Everyday Woman, where everyday women are celebrated in every way. Our topic today is media role models. Now, ladies, for me personally, I don't believe we should look to the media for role models. I believe we should have relatives or a college professor or somebody who's a strong person that we should look to.
Which I agree with you, but the problem is what we should do and what we really do are two very different things. So I think if we are going to have our young look at the media, we need to create role models for them that they actually have a reason and a purpose to look up to. I mean, I think if we look at Nancy Pelosi, she made historic news this year, by becoming the first Speaker of the House that's a female. But yet, did you see her on the cover of Time? Did you see her on the cover of Newsweek? The only magazine in the whole country that put her on the cover was Ms. Magazine. Now, if anything, I think that is so disappointing because that is a woman that kids, women and boys alike, should be able to look up to and say, wow, a woman's in charge. She's third in line to be president of the free world.
Well, it's the same thing like with Condoleezza Rice. They don't put Condoleezza Rice in anything, but yet I see Little Kim all the time.
No, wait, I take issue with media role model. I don't think those two words even belong in the same sentence. Why do our role models have to be famous women in the media? Why aren't they coming from our homes? My personal role models are strong, beautiful women like my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, the women who instilled in me my values and taught me how to be a woman and function in the world as a woman.
Well, and I agree to that, but on a bigger scale, someone maybe in Idaho isn't going to know your mom, so they need someone to look up to. It kind of goes back to your opening statement that we should have the role models. My grandmother and my mother were fantastic role models for me.
How can we get these women out there?
And that's why I think, it's our responsibility to kind of push that forward.
Well, the problem is who is it that keeps buying all the Inquirer magazines?
It's us.
We need to tell the media, hey, look, we're tired of all these basketball players getting millions of dollars for spitting at a coach or punching somebody.
What if we had just a few? Because I think a little bit is fine because we like to know what's going on in the world, but make it more diverse. Let's talk about your mother, my mother, our mothers.
I think scientists, I think we should be talking about research people. I think we should be talking about politicians on a local level, even young kids that are making differences in their own communities.
What's happening worldwide.
But the problem is we still will buy an Elle magazine if Paris Hilton is on the cover.
Of course. And not
because it's sexy. And that's where it comes with the advertising dollars. So you kind of have that. No, but I'm saying it's sexy to the advertisers because they know, like it or not, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, Paris sells issues. Paris gets ratings. And, do you think she cares if people criticize her? No, she's getting paid. So that to her is like, bring it on.
Back in the days, back in the 50s, the media, they were, they only brought actors and people out, like at the time Elizabeth Taylor when she wasn't being embarrassing. And we were supposed to look up to them. They only showed them being classy. They didn't show them out with no underwear on or being drunk.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened? How did that flip? To now, the worse you are, you'll get your own show. The more disgusting
you'll be
in
Us Weekly.
Right.
Right. It's great. But,
exactly.
I mean, like I said, you have to look at who is buying the stuff and why. The Associated Press did an interesting study in February of this year, and they said, you know what, let's just try for a whole month. Let's just not do anything related to Paris Hilton. And the Associated Press is one of the biggest news outlets in the world. So for a whole month, they didn't cover anything. And do you think anybody complained? No. All of a sudden, you started seeing more stories about what was going on in Iraq, how many people died, what was happening in Washington, D.C. You actually started getting real news. And little by little, people started kind of responding to that. But when they were the small fish in the big pond and everybody else was kind of covering Paris, at the end, they were like, well, this is great that we got other news, but no one else is willing to do it. So we become a minority and start being affected.
Do you think that loneliness plays a factor in it too? Like maybe today people are more lonely, so they want to watch TV and they want to look at all these stars and they want to look on the internet and they think that these people are kind of like, their extended family.
Well, when I'm feeling a little bit alone, I'd much rather watch Discovery Channel or something that is more, I don't know, something that hits me more in my heart or something that's more interesting and makes me feel more comfortable.
But how do you get a 13-year-old to watch Discovery Channel?
So at the beginning, I was watching Discovery Channel due to my father at a young age. I think that we are the role models for our children to teach them not to find the media as their role models. So my dad.
And that's I think what it comes down to is in the home. What is allowed in the home? When I was a child, I was not allowed to have any toy unless it had an educational purpose.
Right.
And my friends thought that was the weirdest thing. And I had Speak and Spell, I had this and that, and everything had a purpose for me to have. And where other people were like, oh, I'm at McDonald's and I have my Barbies and I have this. And then you start wondering, well, why are things going wrong? You have to start it at home, like
Which
you
brings
said.
me back to my point, in the home, and isn't that
Right.
where our role models should come from? I would love to see a segment on any news program or any media program that features an ordinary woman, an everyday, every-way woman, the woman who has kids, who is in charge of a Girl Scout troop, who attends the PTA meetings, who's having a positive, loving impact on her community. Why can't we feature people like that? Why can't we see them in the media?
Because I think the media doesn't think that's sexy enough. And
Of
now
course
there's
it's
so
not.
few-
Of course it's
there's
not.
so
But that's just
few
one part of
media
us. It's
outlets.
sexy.
There's so few media outlets out there, though. Everything's owned by a corporation.
And when are we
there's
going to
only
get
about
tired of being
5.
force-fed all of the glamour and all of these high-profile
When we
media
decide-
characters? When are we going to tell the media enough is enough? Stop.
When we
we
stop
want to
buying.
see real
Yeah.
people. We
Well,
want
we
to see
stop
ourselves.
buying, though. That's the problem, right? I think you can have those real people in your life be your mentors, but you have to educate your kids how to look out into the media, to live in the society that we live, and how to discern for themselves
Or
who
into
is a proper
themselves.
Look into
who
themselves.
Is, who is a
That's
proper
it.
role model. Every day we wake up and we get thrown the same things about Brangelina, what baby they're going to adopt, you know,
Right.
and who's on what fat diet, and Britney Spears in and out of rehab. And then we expect our youth to be able to say, oh, I don't want to be that. Well, where are the role models for them to say, this is what I want to be? And
You know
that's
where
why I
the
think
role
that-
Well,
You know
yeah,
what I
we've
think the role
identified
models
the
are?
problem. We don't have good role models. So let's
Exactly.
where are the good ones?
We need
Well,
to be
ladies,
the role models.
Exactly.
Well,
we
ladies,
need
this
to be
was
it.
a very hot topic, but our discussion now is open dialogue is now closed. Thank you.